Welcome. This is Coach Carrie with Jetti Fitness, and I am so excited to be leading you through today's 30-minute outdoor Jetti walking class. We are going to have fun today, but before we get started, take a quick glance down, double check that your shoelaces are securely tied, and then let's get our Jetti on. So we are going to start by walking and actually holding those Jetti poles at their center grips. So go ahead, hold the poles at their center grips. You'll find that they lie horizontally on either side of you. Your arms are just down straight. And as you start to just bring yourself up to that warm-up pace, those poles are gently swinging forward and back. Nothing that you are forcing, it is just that gentle movement that your body knows that it wants to do. So just allow that to happen. Again, we are finding that perfect warm-up pace. We are not all out at any brisk walk, any power pace yet. No, we are just allowing that blood to flow, allowing our body to warm up, and preparing it for what is ahead today. As you start walking and getting that blood flowing and that body warmed up, I'm just going to run through a few safety checks, a few little housekeeping items, as I like to call them, just to watch out for your safety while you are out there. So, using your eyes and your ears, please be aware of everything that is going on around you. So that is any oncoming traffic or other pedestrians sharing the same walking path. That could be cyclists, cars backing out of driveways. Make sure that you are making eye contact with those drivers and they are returning the same to you. And watching out for any tripping hazards. So any uneven surfaces, any curbs, any change in the terrain. If you're on more of a nature path, watching to make sure that there aren't any roots or anything sticking up through that dirt. And then watching for any slipping hazards. So it could be wet leaves, right, covering up a more slippery spot, or just a puddle or wet spot on the surface. I always like to point out that when the striping on a road, right, like the white marks on a crosswalk, when that painted part gets wet, it is more slick than just the regular pavement. So always being extra careful around those areas when they are wet. We're also watching out for our safety with our ears, right? So listening for what's going on around you. Making sure that this volume that you are listening to this class at is adjusted. So yes, you can hear it, but you can also hear any oncoming traffic or any pedestrians that are coming up behind you and announcing their passing. So just be aware. That's the key here, awareness of what is going on around you. All right, let's go ahead and switch the way that we walk with our Jetti poles. Our body is nice and warmed up. We've got that blood flowing. So let's go ahead and bring our poles into the planted position. So you are going to turn them vertical, holding them at the top grip and finding that the feet of those poles are planting themselves right next to your feet. So just start to walk. Don't even worry about what the poles are doing. They're gonna drag behind you a little bit, and you will find that they take on that same kind of swing that was happening when you were holding them at your sides, right? They just kind of drag a little bit in opposition of the forward foot. We don't even realize that's happening, but our body just knows. If our right foot is stepping forward, our left arm is coming forward at that time. Feel that rhythm, and then let's build on that. So rather than letting those poles drag, start to plant them. So your right foot steps and your left pole plants. And we're not swinging it out in front of us, it's planting right next to us. And then we continue on, planting the pole with every step. There are a few different variations to how we can walk with our Jetti poles, but we are starting here first with this single pole planting on every step, right? So it's a very, very short movement that pole is going through. It is not swinging out in front of you. It is staying right next to your body. And just giving a little tap, tap, tap as you walk, walk, walk. It doesn't feel like much, but I promise you are already engaging that upper body in a different way, your core in a different way. So just spend a moment getting comfortable with this style of Jetti walking. Maybe increasing your pace just a little bit from that warm-up pace if you are ready to dial it up. We don't need to be at our full-on brisk walk yet, but you can kind of head that direction. So find a pace that works for you. And as you walk with this single poling walking style, let's talk a little bit about that posture. So the Jetti Poles are actually assisting your posture. You might find that they're helping you walk a little taller. We, of course, need to be conscious of what our body is doing, so being sure that we are not leaning into the poles. That becomes especially true when we get into some of the additional movements that we do, is being careful not to lean into them, but rather have your body hold your body up, and those poles help support and facilitate your movements to level them up to help you get into some of these positions or take them even further than what you were able to do without the poles. But feel, by holding those poles in each hand, by having them lightly move on either side of you, how that just helps your body stay upright. Feel yourself zipped up through that core, right all the way up through the belly. That chest is up and open. Shoulders are slightly back and down. Chin is level with the ground. And be sure that those glutes are engaged. Don't let your hips fall behind you. We want those stacked right underneath our shoulders. Good, and we are walking along. Making sure that those nice deep breaths are coming in through the nose, filling up those lungs, and you are exhaling that out through the mouth. And you are finding your cruising speed. So yes, this is Jetti pole walking. So we've experienced two types of walking. We had our suitcase carry, where they are swinging on either side of us, not actually planting on the ground like walking sticks. And now they are acting as that. They are planting. We are doing our single poling, which means one moves at a time, and planting that pole on every step. So what we are going to transition to is getting a little bit more movement. We're still not swinging the pole way out in front of us. It is still staying kind of just in front of our toes, again, in opposition of the forward foot. But we are allowing ourselves to take an extra step between each pole plant. So you'll just kind of find your rhythm. So it's more of a step, step, plant, step, step, plant. I like to transition to this single poling every other step style as I pick up my pace. Personally, I just find that it falls into that rhythm of a faster pace a little easier for me. Again, that is personal preference, so you do what is right for you. Feel, again, that upper body engagement. And just that little lift of the pole slightly in front of you every time you go forward, that's helping to work your core. Anytime we are holding something out in front of us and keeping that posture tall, our core is turned on even more. So keep cruising along at this pace with our single pole, every other step plant. It is okay if it is a little awkward. If this is your first time Jetti walking, it is fine. It takes a few steps, maybe a few more, and then you just start to find your rhythm. Sometimes it is about not overthinking it, because as we experienced when we first started out and had those poles kind of just dragging behind us, or swinging in our arms, our body knows what to do. So if you are finding that you can't catch the rhythm, maybe stop thinking about it as much, right? I know that sounds weird to say. Let your mind drift and let your body just take over. Sometimes we just need to let it happen. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Again, feeling the difference in your posture, that upper body engagement, and you might not be feeling a ton. You might not be saying, wow, I really feel like I'm working my upper body, but I promise you at the end of this walk, you will have been creating these tiny little movements in your upper body for 30 minutes. Tomorrow, there's a pretty good chance you're going to feel the Jetti effect, just from what others have said and from what others have experienced. So you might not feel it initially, but it is there. It is happening. It's like that sneaky little workout going on. Your, what we call perceived exertion, is actually lower. Because we have these poles with us, sometimes it makes it feel like we aren't working as hard, when actually our body is working harder. So that perceived exertion, so it's not that our exertion is less, but how we feel it. And again, that is pretty cool because that allows us to dig a little deeper, push a little harder, opens up opportunities, really allows this freedom that Jetti Poles bring. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, are we ready to cruise? Are you ready to launch off, to take off? Because that's what double poling is all about. So we are going to switch up our walking style again. This time we are getting just a little bit more swing in those poles. Again, we are not pushing them way out in front of us, but they are going to come together. They're going to come forward at the same time, right and left. They are going to plant at the same time. And then you kind of press down, you dig into the ground as you walk through, and then press them out behind you, right? So this is double poling. The poles move in sync with each other. They plant together, they push off together. I love this one because I feel like this is where, I take off. Again, I don't feel like I'm working as hard. I feel like my pace picks up. Maybe you're feeling that too. It almost feels like you're cheating. But you're not. You're out working. You're engaging your body in a whole new way. And my favorite part is just as you are pushing through those poles and extending them back behind you before they swing forward again, it's like you get this tricep extension, right? This extra little push through the back of the upper arm, helping it to tone that tricep, to work that tricep muscle. I always laugh because I feel like it's, again, one of those sneaky little exercises that happens to be in there, that those bonus benefits of Jetti pole walking. So I hope you have taken off. I hope you took flight with this double poling. Not to sway you in any way, but I will admit that this is my favorite, hands down, my favorite style of Jetti walking. But you discover your favorite. What works for you? So I wanted to take time today and just start out walking, get you moving. Because again, this is a walking-based workout that we have the opportunity to level up in so many ways. So it is rooted in walking. That is what we do. But we are going to take those Jetti poles and we are going to move and groove and get our body moving in a whole different way as we walk along. All right, let's go ahead. And as you are walking, take those poles and hold them together, right? Line them up with each other, wrapping your hands around the actual colored pole part between the grips. So yes, you're holding the two poles at once. They are lined up and you're wrapping your hands from underneath and your fingers wrap around on top. And you are holding them horizontally like in front of your belly button. So they are crossing in front of your body left to right. And then you are bringing them, like I said, right about belly button height. So your elbow is pinned in at your sides, right? Both your elbows are pinned in at your sides and they are at about a 90-degree angle. So I want you to imagine that those Jetti Poles is like a big tray of appetizers. We call this movement carry the tray, because we aren't just letting these poles hang down in front of us, cross in front of our thighs. No, we have activated our biceps, we have activated our upper back, and we are holding this tray, this imaginary tray, out in front of us. Again, elbows pinned at your sides. You are straight from your elbows all the way out to your hands, holding onto those poles, and you are just carrying it. And it doesn't feel like much, but what you are doing is gaining what we call an isometric hold. So that's when you are activating the muscle. Right now, your bicep is activated. You are halfway through a bicep curl, right? You're right in the middle, hanging out there. Your biceps are activated, and you are just holding it. We're going to continue to hold this for a moment in our carry the tray. And yes, your feet are still moving. Keep on walking along. And then this is a tray of appetizers, so we are going to imagine that we have showed up at the party and we need to serve these appetizers. So keeping the pole right there at belly button height, those poles held together across you horizontally. Now you're just going to extend your arms out straight in front of you as if you are passing that tray. And then you're going to retract. You're going to pull those elbows back so they come back pinned on either side of your torso. So it's like you serve the tray, and then you pull it back so you can walk to the next party guest. Serve the tray, pull it back. So continue on with me now. Press that out and in, out and in. Find the pace of these out and in, this press and pull movement that falls in sync with the pace of your feet. You'll find that you can just fall into a nice rhythm here, going out and in. If you like to turn it up a notch, feel free to double time that and go out, in, right? You're passing those appetizers. You are working the room, making sure that that tray does not drop down in front of you, right? Keep it up at belly button height. Don't allow that tray to dump. Don't allow it to tip to the right or tip to the left. Just keep going out, in. 5 more seconds here. 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. Keep on walking. You can go ahead and now relax those arms down in front of you. So take that bend out of your elbow, carrying those poles either right in front of you or switching one to each hand. Continuing on with your walk as you allow your arms and your upper back to recover before we do one more set of carry the tray, holding it there because we gotta get from the kitchen, we gotta get all the way to the party, and then passing the appetizers. All right, shake out those arms, give them a little bit of a wiggle, roll those shoulders, check in with that posture, make sure that we aren't curving forward, right? Those shoulders are back and down. We are zipped up nice and tall, and then go ahead, load up that tray and bring it up. Our elbows are at 90 degrees. They are both pinned on either side of our torso. Those poles are acting as that imaginary tray right out in front of us, and we are walking. We are holding that up. This small little isometric hold we have going on. Just about 2 pounds. Each pole is about 1 pound each. And again, you are walking. We are almost there though, so you know what is coming up. It is time to pass those appetizers. Are we ready? Let's do it. Press it out and in. Out and in. Good. Extend and retract, keeping that nice tall posture as you do so. Beautiful. And again, that option, and again, is completely optional. If you want to go double time and go out and in and out and in, out and in and out and in, find what is right for you, staying at that regular pace or going double time. We are here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful, beautiful. Walk it out, walk it out. Let's switch those poles to that suitcase carry again, holding them at their center grips, allowing them to swing down at your sides gently. One pole in each hand, horizontally on either side of you. And I want you to take a look at your walking path. Is there a place that you can take a step off? We are going to go into a movement called Start the Lawnmower. And this one we do from a standing position. So we will stop our feet. If there is not a good, safe place for you to step off your walking path without being in the way of other pedestrians or just not a good place for you, that is okay. Just continue to walk on through. Or go ahead and pause this workout. Find yourself at that safe space, and then go ahead and pick up where you left off. All right, so let's get to the place that we can stop. Find your feet hip width apart. You're holding those poles at their center grips, maintaining a nice straight back. I want you to slightly push your hips backwards as your chest leans forward. So we don't just want to bend at the hips and allow our chest to lean forward. We want to push our hips back, kind of like you're trying to rip the seam in the back of your pants. Yes, I just said that. That's what I want you to do. Not actually rip it, but push your hips back so you feel that stretch through your glutes and your hamstrings, and then allowing your chest to drop down about 45 to 60 degrees, keeping a nice flat back so we're not rolling our shoulders forward to get there. We are literally keeping that perfectly flat back and bowing our chest slightly forward. We are holding those poles still at their center grip, so they are hanging down low in front of our chest. And now we are going to pretend we are starting the lawnmower. So think about that string, that cord that you pull on the lawnmower. Pretend you have 2 of them, one in each hand, and we are going to pull our elbows back, let them brush past our torso right where they were with that last movement, and then squeeze them back behind us as we squeeze our shoulder blades together, making sure we are not pulling our shoulders up into our ears, but rather we are pulling those arms back and those shoulder blades together behind us. So we are pulling that back and then extending those arms back down, pulling it back, start the lawnmower, and then retract back, extending down, and then retracting back again, right? So this lawnmower is being stubborn. We have to keep giving it a few pulls. Squeeze behind you. Really feel that squeeze. Imagine you are trying to break a pencil between your shoulder blades. And back. Good. Keep doing that. If at any point you are feeling any pain in the low back, go ahead and squeeze those glutes and rise your chest back up and bring yourself to standing to take any of that pressure off your low back. It does take a little bit of practice to hold yourself in that hinged position. Good. 3 more. Squeeze and down, squeeze and down, squeeze and down. Good, good, good. Stand there for a moment, shake everything out, roll those shoulders. We will do 1 more set. If you did find that there was either struggles balancing or pain in the low back because bracing your core and bracing your glutes to protect your low back is something new to you, that is okay. I want you to either leave out this second set and work your way up to it, or try one of these options. You can either take one of your poles and hold it in its planted position, so holding the pole at the top, and letting it be vertical in front of you. So you are holding onto one pole as you lean down and row with the other. So you have kind of an extra leg there. Or kickstanding one foot back behind you. So rather than your feet staying right next to each other at hip width, you're going to put one foot behind you, just your toes, right? As if your foot is about to lift off, creating a little bit of a kickstand, then shifting your hips back. You feel the stretch concentrated in one leg, but by doing so, you create that kickstand and that extra support to support that low back. So a couple options there. Let's go into it. See, either the regular option of hinging and pulling or one of these modifications. So hinge forward and row. Good. And back. Pull those lawnmower strings, those cords to start the lawnmower. Squeezing those shoulder blades together. Keep going. Right? It's not a lot of weight. Like I said, these are 1 pound each, but when we squeeze those muscles, when we focus on the muscles that are engaged, they are working. Right? We are activating them. We are strengthening them. We are strengthening through our legs and our core, as it is holding us in place in this hinged position. 2 more pulls. Ready? 1 and back. 2 and back. Good. Stand yourself back up. If you chose to take one of those modifications, one of those options of either keeping one pole to stabilize you or kickstanding one foot back behind you, kind of assess how did that feel. Remember that for future classes as an option that you can always take. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, let's get our walking on again. So we have a few more minutes left in this class. Let's keep on walking. So bring those poles to that pole plant position. You're holding them at the top grips, and I'm gonna ask you to freestyle. Pick whichever Jetti walking style you want to, right? Are you single poling on every step, every other step? Or my favorite, are you double poling and cruising along? Find what works for you. Take a moment, bring yourself back up to that brisk pace, maybe even a little bit more than that. Let's kind of get our sweat on for a moment here. You are moving, you are grooving. Beautiful. Keep this power pace for 20 more seconds. Ten more. Keep pushing, keep pushing. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, let's slow our walk down. And we're going to get into some Jetty Lunges. So with our walking lunges, you're stepping forward with one foot and then dropping your hips straight down. So it's as if your back knee is coming down almost to the ground. Imagine that you are actually going down onto one knee, right? That you are kneeling down on the ground. We want to bring that back knee down straight, those hips drop straight, and make sure that that front knee is not pressing forward and coming in front of those laces, right? And then you power through that front leg to bring that back foot back up to meet it, and then take that next step with the opposite foot. So it's a step, drop your body down, dropping that back knee, and then coming back up out of that, stepping together, and then following through with the other foot. Let's just take a few nice long walking lunges here. Feeling how those Jetti Poles help keep your chest lifted, so help keep you in good posture as you lunge. And also how they provide that balance and support that maybe you can get a little bit deeper in this lunge. You now have a little something to kind of push down on to allow you to stand back up. So it's allowing some freedom and some opportunity to take this movement a little bit further. 2 more lunges, 1 on each side. Awesome, awesome. So just one set of lunges today, just to kind of introduce you to how Jetti Poles can help take that movement to the next level. Maybe it's something that you haven't been able to do before because balance is of a concern. And so this opened up that opportunity to give it a little try. Or like I said, maybe it is something that you just experienced in a whole new way because, I promise you, Jetty Lunges, you feel those the next day, no matter how seasoned of a lunger you are. All right, so let's bring our feet to a stop, shake out those legs, and I want you to hold those poles in planted position so they are just a couple inches in front of your feet and maybe an inch or two out. Transition your hands to cup the top grips, right? Cup the top balls on the top of the poles. And I want you to bring yourself into a nice cool down breaststroke. So with our breaststroke, we are making 2 big circles with those poles. So the feet stay where they are in place. They stay right there on the ground and you are circling the top end. Like you are swimming the breaststroke, like you are stirring 2 big cauldrons. Give me a few forward strokes as you slow things down. Take some nice deep breaths. And then go ahead and reverse that. Bring yourself into a few reverse strokes. Stir the cauldrons backwards. You take your breaststroke and it almost turns into that treading water arm movement. Just feeling that nice flow and releasing anything through your shoulders. They worked hard today. For 30 minutes, they were moving those poles along, right? For 30 minutes, you had 1 extra pound in each hand. You were doing the work. So I hope you had fun with today's Jetti Outdoor 30-minute class. This has been Coach Carrie with Jetti Fitness, and I cannot wait to walk with you again very, very soon. Jetti on.